Yeah. PIPTV.
Hello and welcome. Mavis is live on Facebook, live on the Portland In Project. PIPTV. Are you with me? The velvet's looking okay behind me. That's right, that is the theme tune for today. Universal Studios theme tune, I think that was known as 20th Century Fox. My name is Mavis Davis and we are now live on PIPTV, that's right. Now, we've been doing this the last couple of weeks and I've got to say, I look forward to it every week. It's lovely. I can see a couple of people out there. That's wonderful. I think that if you sort of write any messages in the chat, I might be able to see it. And today, ladies, gentlemen, and all the beautiful people in between, we will be making a cocktail, right? Now, the cocktail, I hope the music's not too loud. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. It's nice to have a little bit of, atmospheric music. Today, we're going to be making a Woolworth Tipsy, right? Now, I made that up. It's based on a Manhattan, right? But I've never been to Manhattan, and I thought, well, why is it called a Manhattan? Like, I like the flavours and stuff, and I thought, why not invent your own, Mavis? So it's a take on the Manhattan, which was so called because it was invented in Manhattan, I think, for Winston Churchill's mum. And I was like, well, why doesn't Mavis get her own cocktail? So Mavis, talking about myself in third person because I do that a lot, has invented the Woolworth Tipsy. So tonight we will be making the Woolworth Tipsy cocktail. Very simple, and we can do loads of variations of it. If you don't drink alcohol, that's fine. We can find loads of different substitutes. All right, so without further ado, we'll begin. Now, we thought that, part of this, because it's like Valentine's, Galentine's / Palentine's on a day coming up quite soon, I'm not sure, I've never really celebrated it. What I've always celebrated, though, is my independence, right? Now, whether that's you as a solo person or whether you're in a relationship, long or short, we're going to celebrate our independence, all right? Now, I'll sort of talk you through that whilst I'm making this cocktail. First of all, we'll start off with a little snack. So I've got my cocktail sausages there, very important, and I've got my hula hoops, all right? Now, I went for ready salted because I just thought, it's important to just have, because this cocktail is quite spicy, all right? So I thought it's important to go a little bit plain on the old snacks. So I've got 2 snacks there. I've not gone for a whole tapas of snacks because I don't want to ruin my dinner later, all right? So, happy Friday to you all that are joining us. It's lovely to see some faces out there. I'm Mavis Davis, for those of you that haven't met me. Welcome. I did stick my nails on just a few minutes before this session. I hope they don't fall off in the cocktail making. Now, to make this cocktail, you are going to need... I've got half a mug full of bourbon whiskey, all right? Don't confuse it with bourbons. It's a bourbon. I think that's how you pronounce it, bourbon whiskey. It's an American whiskey. You could go Irish whiskey if you fancy it. 150 millilitres of that, right? Which is about the size of half a mug, all right? My fingernails are already coming off. That's wonderful. So I've got half a mug of whiskey there, right? Don't worry, we are going to dilute it with some other flavours. You wouldn't want to just drink that straight from a mug. That's quite worrying, all right? Hello, Belinda, nice to see you. And Kerry, hello, welcome. It's lovely to see you. Right, so we've got whiskey there, any kind of whiskey. If you don't drink alcohol, then maybe try some cranberry juice because that's quite sour, right? So that's quite a nice kind of flavour, slightly kind of alternative. Maybe you want to go with some like slightly gone off cranberry juice, and that might start to taste, you know, quite strange like alcohol does. So yeah, you know, you could go that direction. I've gone with whiskey there. And then the next up, we're going to have some port, all right? I went with port because Lidl's didn't have Martini Rosso. Now, apparently this is quite a good substitute for Martini Rosso. And you want just 75 millilitres of this, right? So you could go sweet vermouth, you could go Martini Rosso, you could go port. Now, I think that this port was made in an area of southeast London by probably by someone like Del Boy or something. I hate to think, but it was very reasonably priced. So I'm going to go with 75 millilitres there. That seems like quite a lot. Now, this is the sweet bit, all right? So again, if you're making a cocktail with no alcohol, you want to just try maybe a bit of Ribena or, I don't know, sugar mixed with water or something like that. But it's got a nice colour to that as well. So you want to, like, you know, you could use a little bit of food colouring. That's why I'm saying Ribena's quite a good alternative. All right. So I've got the port. I've got the whiskey. Now the next thing you need is some Angostura bitters. All right. Now Angostura bitters taste very bitter. That's right. Now, we do sugar and water, Nana. That's right, sugar and water. I'm thinking off the top of my head here. But yeah, you know, or maybe, do you know, substitute with something else. What's your suggestion, Nana? I'd love to hear it. Nana, resident of the Portland area, also famously known for her beautiful kitchen, from which delights come from. Nana's going to maybe suggest an alternative to sugar and water. Again, I'm using port. You could use Martini Rosso and, you know, whatever you want. So sweet vermouth usually. Then we've got the Angostura bitters. Now, these are delightful bottles. Now, I think that they're quite dangerous in flavour, which is why they're hidden by such a large label, all right? So, now, these are quite specialist, but you can find them in a big shop, like a big Tesco. Don't go there, though. Big Asda, big Morrison's. Yeah, I went Sainsbury's in Hanley, all right? So that's where I got mine, Sainsbury's or Sainsbury's in Hanley, that's got the recycling banks. That's where I go for mine, because that's where I recycle my boxes. I've got loads of boxes. Okay, so moving on, you've got your Angostura bitters there. Now, I have got, now ordinarily in the club or whatever, where I usually work, I might mix this drink in a mixer, all right? Now, but it's really important to remember that this is stirred, not shaken, all right? So ordinarily, James Bond, Jimbo, as I like to call him, was not a regular down the club. He did come in on a couple of occasions, but he came in a disguise, so no one really knew that it was the James Bond that had come down the club. He famously went up to the bar and asked for a drink, shaken, not stirred. No one knew what he was talking about, because we don't usually do cocktails. It's just lager or Babycham or wine. So, yeah, here's Justin saying, I don't have Angostura bitters. Would a can of bitter be a suitable substitute? Yes, Justin, of course it would. If it tastes bitter, then definitely. Or, you know, maybe some bit of lime or lemon or anything that tickles your fancy. Because the beauty of a cocktail, right, is that it's about mixing different flavours together. Now, that is a beautiful allegory, isn't it? Mixing different flavours together. It's a cocktail, right? It's the spice of life. Is a cocktail, okay? So I've got my ice in a jug here. This beautiful jug here made by the Anna Francis. That's right, she's a local and she's an artist. She's very famous, actually. And I'm lucky enough to have this little jug here. And that's why I've got my ice in, because I don't have a mixer, all right? Not many of us do have mixers. So we've got to be resourceful, all right? So I've got a jug here, and in the jug, I've got a load of ice. Now, I'm going to pour the port. That's a beautiful noise there. And then I'm going to mix the whiskey in that as well. Oh, it's almost come to the top. Didn't predict that, right? So that was 150 millilitres of whiskey, 75 millilitres of port, or whatever substitutes you want to go for. And the reason there's quite a lot here is so that we can make multiple cocktails, all right? Not just the one cocktail, because that's practically a pint. Multiple cocktails. Now, some of you might remember the film Cocktail, starring the Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise once came down to the club before he got his teeth done, before he was really famous. But it was about the time that he'd been in Cocktail. And he came down the club, of which I'm a landlady, and I think he was doing a bit of research, really. So you could say that the performance what Tom Cruise did in Cocktail was based on my performing behind the bar. Now, I made Tom Cruise a lager shandy. And he was very impressed with his lager shandy. Now, in these parts and other parts of the UK, some people do deem the lager shandy to be a cocktail because you're obviously mixing two types of drinks together there. You've got your lemonades and you've got your lager. Now, moving on from Tom Cruise and Cocktail and the time that he copied me making a cocktail, I'll just say that I've just put a few drops of the Angostura bitters into the jug there, all right? So that's all on ice. Now, stirred, not shaken. So what do? You get your stirrer, okay? Now, if you don't have a stirrer, you could use a fork, you could use a spoon, you could use a knife, you could use a stick, you could use your finger, if you've got really long fingers. I didn't want to risk that because I don't want my fingernails falling off into the jug there. So I got a mixer. And now I'm going to mix that drink together so it's like a punch. Okay. And now I feel happy that I've mixed it together. It looks really mixed. Okay. Now, next up, I'm going to start pouring it, okay? So I'm going to pour it into, I've got a baby sham glass here. Now, I'm going to stop a second, right? Because I'm speeding along here with how to make a cocktail. Maybe because I really want to try this cocktail. But I forgot that I want to share with you some wisdom as me, Mavis Davis, who's gone through a lot of experiences in love, out of love, in love again, out of love. Now, some of you know that there's a certain day coming up. Some people call it Valentine's, some people call it Galentine's, some people call it Palentine's. I call it Sunday, right? Now, so basically, some of us might celebrate it, some of us don't. Either way, there's some fantastic meal deals in the shops, right? Now, I'm like, win-win, all right? I've said this before, I've said it time and time again. HA, you've got Marks and Sparks, you've got Lidl, you've got Morrison's Co-op are on it now as well, where you get a meal deal for two that's Valentine's themed. So you might get chorizo that's in a heart shape, you might get black pudding what's in a heart shape. You might get steak what's in a heart shape. You might get chips what are in kind of heart shapes. Like kind of crinkle cut but in a heart shape. Whatever. It's a meal deal that I will eat myself. So it's a win-win situation. I get it all to myself. And that's wonderful. The perks of being a solo independent woman. Now, as I was saying earlier, you can be independent and in a relationship, all right? I'm in and out of relationships all the time. Locally, I'm known as Mavis because actually people respect me and it's not frowned upon in these parts or any parts I've ever lived in, all right? So I've been in and out of many different relationships. Currently, I'm solo. Anyway, I've mixed, so we'll come back to a little bit of wisdom there later. I've mixed the cocktail. I don't want to leave it too long because I don't want the ice to start disintegrating or melting. Now, Some of you have a strainer. I don't, not here right now. I've got a fork. I did also bring a potato masher. We could try that. Yeah, it's sort of working. So basically it means that you're not getting ice into your cocktail. So I'm slowly, it's going a little bit everywhere. Right, I'm going to put the masher down and I'm going to pick up, it's all right, the cat will like it later. And I'm going to pick this up and I've got my fork preventing the ice from going in there. That's beautiful. Now, I'm going to show you that colour. That's a very rich, beautiful colour there. Looks like Ribena. And I wonder what it tastes like. But before I taste it, I'm going to move over to the glacy cherries, all right? Now, the glacy cherries have got a bit of a residency on this show, haven't they? And I'll also turn the music back on a little bit. Let's play some music. So the glacy cherries have featured every week, actually, which is quite interesting. So this week, they're going in a cocktail. Last week, we used them for the edible hedgehogs. Almost forgot what happened last week there. And the week before that, we used them for lip gloss, all right? So this week, I'm putting the glacy cherry into the cocktail. And I'm dropping that in there. So it drops to the bottom. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, and there you have a Woolworth Tipsy. Why is it called a Woolworth Tipsy, I hear you ask? Probably wherever you are. It's called Woolworth Tipsy because I'm from Woolworth. And I thought, I don't think there's many cocktails named after Woolworth. Woolworth's an area of South East London in Elephant and Castle. And which is why I thought you could substitute the whiskey, the bourbon whiskey, for Irish whiskey because it's similar flavours. Now, some people call this a Manhattan. It's not got the same ring to it though, does it? This is a Woolworth Tipsy. Now, here we go. Let's try it. That's lovely. It's really lovely. It is lovely. Hits, you know. Woo! Now that we've sort of made that, I'm going to have a little hula hoop. I'm going to tell you something. Just yesterday, I was asked by a wonderful woman called Sarah Blanc, who's famous for doing aerobics, famous for making people laugh, and famous for being absolutely fantastic with a skipping rope. The Sarah Blanc asked me, could I share some wisdom about love, all right? Now, I was put on the spot and I was searching and then I remembered, and I couldn't remember who it was, but I remembered a wise voice once tell me, that really what's most important in life is to laugh at yourself, all right? Now, it's a good job I find myself very funny because I'm a solo independent woman. So that's wonderful. But also I was remembering what this wise voice said. And this wise voice, because Sarah Blanc was asking me, what advice would I give to anybody who's experienced heartbreak? This wise voice said to me, if you're experiencing pain, you've got to ride that pain like a wild horse on a beach, right? And you ride that wild horse on a beach, and you don't try and tame that horse. You don't try and control that horse. You just go with it. You go with that horse and you go right down that beach. You don't know where it's going to, but you're riding that horse and you're going through it and you're like, and then by the end of it, you got through it. And it's like going through pain and heartbreak can feel a little bit like that. It's a roller coaster of a journey, right? Like riding a wild horse on the beach. It's not to be tamed. You just got to go for it. And at the side, other side, you'll come out sexier. You'll come out more experienced. You'll come out more mature. And you'll be done with whoever it is that might have torn your heart. And you'll be glad that they were in your life and you experienced that because you've come out the other side. And that's beautiful. So cheers to that. And then I thought, well, who is this wise voice? I couldn't remember who this wise voice that told me this fantastic piece of wisdom. And then I remembered. It was my gut. That wise voice was my gut. So there you go. There's another piece of advice there. Sometimes that wise voice is inside us. It's in our guts. It's our gut. And you've got to listen to that gut. And that's called instinct. Oh, she's a wonderful woman, that instinct. It's really great. First name Gut, surname Instinct. Miss Gut Instinct. She's fantastic. So I'll cheers to that. Now, I'm going to have to love you and leave you. I've got my hula hoops on the sides here. I've got my sausages ready. I'm dolled up for a big night in. And I just want to say to you all, I'm glad, Kerry, your guts just want cake. That's fantastic. And yours too, James. Whatever your guts want, answer that gut and respond to that gut. And you'll be all the happier and you'll come out all the wiser and probably all the sexier. So it's been me, Mavis Davis. It's absolutely wonderful to see some of you out there. Happy Friday. Cheers with this beautiful Woolworth Tipsy. I'm going to finish this and I've just realised I've got a whole jug here and I don't think the cat likes cocktails. Don't worry, I'll save it for tomorrow for a nice drink outside in the yard to warm me up. Good night, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and enjoy that loving Sunday. Bye-bye. It's not finishing. It's because I've got fake nails.